call this meeting to order and begin with a word of prayer. Thank you, please. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank Thee for this beautiful weather that we have here in Jefferson County. Dear Lord, we thank You for the people that we have sitting at this table, the decision makers, the people who guide this big battleship called Jefferson County. Dear Lord, we pray for those who have been affected by Hurricane Ida. We pray for their speedy recovery and help for those in need. The terrible hurricane down in Puerto Rico also. Dear Lord, touch these people and give them the wisdom, the strength, the courage, and the guidance to pull out of their disaster. Dear Lord, as we are about to go through this work session, dear Lord, touch us and give us the understanding, the strength, the wisdom to do things in Thy will. Lord, we ask These things in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Ian or Ian? Ian. Okay. I thought about that when I said it.
Lord knows you are.
We'll go ahead and begin with Commission District 1.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. We have the Public Works, Community Services, and Intergovernmental Relations Committee. We have a total of 5 items. Do you have any questions concerning those items? And Cal, if you'd like to speak to any, or David Dinner, if anyone has any questions.
I just have a question on item 3. This is an on-call service for 2.6.
You did that not too long ago, right?
We do those annually. Excuse me, we do those annually.
Did we do one recently for another on-call service? Or my mistake?
The Roto-Rooter.
No,
That's right.
those are, I think you may be talking about the Serpro and the DEC.
That's what it was.
Those are for backup cleaning. But this is for our facilities. If we have emergency work that needs to be done at our facilities or in the collection system.
So we don't have the people to do that kind of.
Well, these are for cases where with large plant jobs, or we've got a pipe that's really deep or really large, where we got to mobilize them immediately.
Move items.
Second.
All right, they have been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
We have one item for of business for District 1. Note, please, that there's a pen and ink change, which should be $40,000, not 45. So just wanted to make sure for clarity purposes.
Is that for last year?
I'm sorry?
Is that for last year?
No, it actually, because it's a new contract, it will come out of this year's budget.
No,
We still got you in November of 2021.
No, I know, but that's why I'm telling you, just delete that. We have a new contract altogether.
Okay.
That was for this foundation, and so that's the rough that we were told to do to make it easier. Okay, it has been moved, and I heard a second. Okay, it's been moved and properly seconded with the pen and ink change. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Commissioners.
Okay. Commissioner Top.
Yes, good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yes, Dr. Hammer.
Good morning, Commissioners. We have 2 items this morning. The first one is for slave land use, environmental services, and transportation. They received a loan through our immediate cares, RLF, and they paid that loan in full. Number 2 is an amendment for the Mother Storm Shelter for the CDBG 2018 project. This is to extend the term until April 9th, 2023. And the original vendor that was providing the steel for the roof went out of business, and we had to bring on another vendor, the cost of steel is going up. So that $40,700 will be paid out of CDBG funds.
Second.
Then first and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I have a resolution on the agenda, the Secretary of State approved Saturday voting on the discussion of the clerk have agreed to do Saturday voting. And I need a vote to open the courthouse, for Saturdays, to have Saturday voting.
Okay.
And I second it.
And then call for the
And
vote.
I call for a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Amos?
No.
Commissioner Knight? Commissioner Scales?
Yes.
Commissioner Tyson?
Yes.
Commissioner Stevens?
No.
And can I ask a question, why y'all voted no? When this was on the agenda in 2020, and we passed.
2020, we were under a pandemic. There was a special circumstance issued by the Secretary of State to give people an option to check to vote absentee. I just got something from Karen Dunn Burks, and it says, open the courthouse for Saturday voting. We don't have early voting.
This is not early voting.
Well, that's what it says. Saturday voting is early voting.
No.
But
The Secretary of State approved it. And as long as he said that, as long as it was approved by him, the clerks can work on Saturday. So I need the courthouse open. That's what we need, was the courthouse open. We don't need y'all up here, you don't need to come up here. This is all about accessibility for people who work on Saturdays. We're talking about the labor union people, along with the high school students that actually play sports. And the off day they have, and most college students, the only off day they have is Saturdays. Because they practice Sunday through Friday, they play on Thursdays and Fridays. So they need to have the same access to vote than other citizens. And that right now they don't have it. That's why they are not able to go vote. So why not give them the same access? If we are planning on a fair process in voting.
Commissioner, there's really no conditions that exist now that didn't exist in any previous election prior to 2020.
People still are getting called.
Everyone. People's gonna always gonna get COVID.
Not necessarily.
There's no use to banning any word. President Biden said the pandemic was over and we should get back to normal. In 2016, 2018, 2014, 2012, all of those were going back to that normal pattern and practice of doing what we did. I sat down and talked to Judge Nackle yesterday morning, and he agreed that there was no need for that.
Maybe not in his community, but in
Well,
mine.
no, you're speaking of me now. He represents
He doesn't really.
all citizens of Jefferson
It
County.
doesn't matter. He don't live in my community, so he wouldn't know what the need was. He can only tell you the need where he traveled. I travel enough and I know where the need is. And it is a need for Saturday voting.
Well,
And the 2020 turnout showed that it was a need. We had over 40 to 50,000 people to come out and vote. If that's not showing a need, I want to know what is.
we need to submit legislation to allow that to happen.
Now, the Secretary of State gave us permission to do it.
Yeah, but he didn't give you any funding for it.
Yeah, we got the funding already. So what's the hold up now? The funding is there, so what?
Where's the funding coming from?
The clerks got their own funding.
No, not for that. This is an additional cost.
No, it will not. No, it won't. I will give some of my discretionary, and you can't tell me not to.
I'm not gonna tell you anything.
I know, so then, well, we got the funding then, so I don't understand, so I don't understand, you still, it's not a legitimate reason, Commission President Stevens, for not to approve, for you not to even be here, for someone that's already in this building to get some keys and open that courthouse and let these people work, and give access to the people who don't have access to vote.
The law states during the regular hours of the clerk.
No, it doesn't. The Secretary of State
Okay.
gave us permission. And he wouldn't have given us permission if it was against the law, I can guarantee you that. And he didn't only give it to us, he gave it to every clerk in the state of Alabama that wanted to open up, that wanted to do it, but they needed permission to open it from the county commissioner. Some of them don't even need that permission because they have small cities and they can actually do it within their cities. So they are doing it. In the largest city, the largest county in Jefferson County don't want to open the doors for the citizens that live here as taxpayers to actually go vote because you don't feel like it's right.
Didn't say anything. You don't put words in my mouth.
Well, that's what it sounds like to me you're saying. That you don't feel like it's right because by law they gave us permission to do.
During the pandemic.
He gave us permission for this
Because
election.
it was needed.
He gave us permission for this election.
There's, I think we talked about that. You move on, appreciate it.
Well, I'm handling this agenda right now, and I want to continue to talk. Do you want to say something about this, Commissioner Skate?
Well, basically, I know that we are still having some issues. What I would have hoped is at least that if this body would have allowed this item to go to the agenda, and then there would be a vote for that. But we do have some constituents that are in the county that, would take advantage of the opportunity that's being provided. The main thing is we encourage voter participation, and I believe that the commissioner's attempt is to allow the county to be able to exhibit what we've been talking about, which is basically everyone having the ability to vote. And a lot of times it does get to be an issue as it relates to people's schedule versus when the courthouse is open. So, that's what I was hoping that what we would have done is at least allow for it to get to the agenda. And then, you can vote your conscience at that point. But I am hoping that when you say, Commission President, that there's going to be some legislation additional legislation that you think needs to be done as it relates to this, that that we get with our lobbyists so that it doesn't become an issue amongst us. Because I think that everybody within this body desires for those who want to participate in an electoral process to be able to have that opportunity. So that's what I would say, that I would hope that we would have at least allowed it to get to the agenda. And that's it, and I know that in order for that to happen, I know that the majority of the body, but in order for this to be re-entertained, someone would have to make that motion in order to do that. But that's pretty much it, Mr. President. I'm just hoping that we get beyond certain things so that it never comes across, especially being that we have media present this morning, that there's an issue on our part in any manner to promote, folk being involved as much as possible.
Right, and if we're supposed to be representing everyone, we're supposed to represent everyone. This isn't a seat for partisan politics. Everyone should have the same right to vote and a fair right. And not making it available on Saturday when people work on the weekend and are not available during the weekday to vote is unfair. And if the Secretary of State that's over all these counties thought enough to give the clerk's permission to open it up, who are we to deny it? He is the body of law that conducts the voting rules for these counties. And he gave permission. That's what he was elected for. So if he gave the clerk's permission, who are we to deny what he's in place for then? If we're going to turn around and deny what he said and he approved. So I see where we are all about over here in Jefferson County. And I will be writing an op-ed. That's the end of my report.
Have Administrative and Infrastructure Committee. We'll pull item 3 and item 4. The Bell Hill Road project, that's a hospital project. That, there's some problems with that moving forward as far as the materials and things that were needed. Heather right here.
Chris is here.
Chris, you want, I can see you, please.
I'm voted.
You want to go ahead and do that?
I can, yes, sir. Good morning, Commissioners. I was 1 and 2 are right-of-way agreements for temporary construction easement for sanitary sewer. And we pulled 3 and 4 just to clarify as we're doing some revisions to that design, which may revise the right-of-way that is needed, hopefully minimize the goal there. So those are pulled to come back to a later date. Item 5 is to condemn is permission. I'm sorry, item 6 is permission to condemn some properties for sanitary sewer project East Lawson. Item 5 is also similar to item 1 and 2 to purchase right-of-way for sewer replacement at Tarrant Huffman. Item 7, rebuild Alabama.
You need to know about this one?
I'm saying absolutely.
I want to inquire about that Tarrant Huffman Road
Okay.
sewer replacement. Are you saying that 5 and 6 are like companion items?
No, I misspoke.
Okay.
They're separate.
Yeah, kind of confusing.
No,
But
I'm sorry.
on
They're,
the-
yeah.
Mhm, that's okay. So on the Tarrant Huffman Road piece, that's only the county portion of that road, am I right?
Correct.
Okay, because we were talking to Heather about that a couple of weeks ago. So it seems as though it's only a small part, like it's less than a mile.
That's correct, yes.
And I think that's kind of like the tail end of that entire project.
It is. It's just to kind of finish it all on our portion.
Okay.
I mean, they've been having that one working for years.
Yeah, but do you, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, you go.
So do you have an ending date for that project? And the only reason why I ask is because on Tarrant Huffman Road, they've had like state or ALDOT construction when they started, and it took like forever. So since this is under a mile, is it possible for us to be able to get that, done in good order? You got a project end date?
I'll probably defer to David on this, since it's sanitary sewer.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know that this affects the roadway a great deal. So this is for replacing our sewer up that sort of parallels Tarrant Huffman.
Right.
So
I get that, but do you have like an end date to that project?
We've had a lot of issues with the right of way, and I
Uh-huh.
think we're getting close. This will be part of finishing this up. So, hopefully, I think we bid it within the next year.
Okay, so we should at least have a project safely 12 months?
I think with bid and everything, unless we have to do condemnation. I'll find out if we've got how much more right of way we got left on that.
Okay, you don't mind,
I will.
appreciate it, thank
And I
you.
kind of follow up, same issue with right of way. This may not be a you question, but I'm going to ask you, and Thea right behind you. So it seems like we spend a lot of time getting right of way. Is there anything that can speed this up, or does everything have to come to the commission, or, for these right of way that may be, smaller amounts of money, that we can accelerate these things instead of always having to extend, to your point? Is there anything we can do to make this quicker?
There's a process.
Probably not, most of it's statutory in terms of this, so it's not anything we can do to speed up the statutory process.
The combination has to come from commission, and then there's just a lot of checklist steps, unfortunately.
Is there any part of the right of way, because there's a number of roads like Green Valley that's been 30 years, and then, if is there something in the statute that could be changed to allow it? Is there a threshold? It seems like we waste a lot of time and effort taking these things through. Is there anything that would make it work faster?
We have to look, but since mostly the statute or takeover property issues, the idea is to make sure that there's nothing that's missed in terms of property rights.
Yeah.
So that's built in.
I got you. Okay, thank you.
If you don't mind, I'll like the opportunity to give a Theo if we can't come back to you with some ideas.
Yeah, just really on all of our projects, we don't want to be labeled as the folk who take forever to do a project.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's all we're saying.
All government work doesn't have to be slow.
Yeah.
Item 7 is rebuild Alabama for 2023. If we have a little map printout, if y'all would like to see that, but I can go through these roads. It's Eastern Valley Road, South Shakes Crest, Fieldstown Road, Odom Road, Chalkville Road, and Roper Road. And these are for our rebuild Alabama money for next year to resurface these roads and restripe.
So can I ask a question? How are these roads fixed?
These roads were picked based on a lot of reasons: connectivity, size of the road, amount of travel. We're also, the county has been working through a process where we're evaluating all the roads in the county. You are aware there's a piece of equipment purchased a couple years ago. We're kind of going through that to get pavement condition scores. So there's a number of things, and really to maximize the amount of money for redevelopment, these 6 were selected.
So what about the southwest and the east part of town, north part of town? Can we see a map on the roads that y'all going to do? Because I haven't seen, with the rebuild Alabama plan, I have not seen any roads on that side of town being done.
Okay, we can. This is a supplement for the big picture of what all we do in the county. So I believe we got you an overall map that may answer that question better. This is just the rebuild Alabama money.
I understand that about the rebuild Alabama. So when are you going to do some roads from those sides of town I just asked you about? With this money? I don't see any roads. I hadn't seen any. Or will it be any?
We can get you the map of the 5-year plan y'all approved, and there's some roads in there on those sides of town. The rebuild Alabama is required by law through the new gas tax. We have to show what we're doing. And if you look at the whole program together, these are just easy ones to tell Aldott to send a report and do the accounting on. So we could have picked others to kind of be in this report, but we'll get you the whole map. I think that's very important.
Because I don't want the money to run out by the time we get to the outside of town.
Yes.
And be in the second phase, and it's never second and third phase
Right.
when it comes to our community.
Then we got some good projects in that part of town.
I was about to say, let me ask you something. When we approved the budget this year, because I know we had a record budget, at least that's what I'm thinking. Tell me, Joe, if I'm wrong. We did like $43 million that we passed, am I right? You kind of remember that, Kev? So, in terms of these road selections that we are talking about, then Cal, one of the things I think we discussed is making sure that we at least get like a forecast of what roads that for county consideration on an annual basis, so that we know what is being done, and we can be able to inform our constituents accordingly. You know what I mean? But I thought you all were kind of working with that. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. They are almost, I believe, hopefully in the next 4 to 6 months will be complete with a full county-wide pavement assessment score that Heather and Chris and them have been working on. be very accurate, and then that'll also be able to, like you said, forecast where our paving crews will be next. We'll be able to have a good math schedule too, just so we can kind of be much more transparent with our citizens on where we're going.
So is this the same money, rebuild Alabama plan is the same money?
It pretty much is. I mean, you got
So
the
what's
2
pretty
cent,
much?
you got the 2 cent, the 5 cent, and the 7 cent gas tax. And this is the new gas tax. And in that new law, they require us to tell them what projects we're doing with it. And then, so we pick projects that are, big projects, so we have a fewer number that we have to do all the accounting on and send to Montgomery.
Commissioner, they're not changing what we do. This is just one portion of what we do, and these funds are allocated for this particular road paving. They normally use this for the larger projects where they don't have to have 5 or 6 or 7 of them that they have to account for. And they say you've got some now that said Rebuild Alabama that's our projects. And I was really concerned and really worried. I'll tell you your Jefferson County tax dollars at work when it's our road paving that we're doing, not state money, not state gas tax. I'd like to see, your Jefferson County Commission tax dollars are at work in these various districts while we're doing that. Put that sign up, let these people know that their tax dollars are being well spent and used in all 5 districts. When they see the Rebuild Alabama, it's just one, maybe in one district, in one road. They need to know that we're throughout the Jefferson County and we're improving quality of life for everyone. And out toward Minor Heights, they repaved every road in Minor Heights.
But we didn't have that sign.
Didn't have that sign. So no one knew, and they didn't even know. You can, when you're in a commission district, you can put the commission district on there and do it that way. But we just need to let our citizens know we need to communicate better, because we're not doing a bad job, okay? I don't want you to say that. But we're not doing a job of communicating what sometimes it's after the fact. And we need to do that, because that's something that between the Sheriff's Department, Roads and Transportation, Sewer Department, Revenue Department, people don't know what's going on in Jefferson County. So we're doing a good job. We're doing better than we ever have. Let's kind of toot our own horn a little bit. Say, hey, this is where your tax dollars go.
That's a good idea. I mean, when we talking about signs, because we can throw something on social media. I just told Chris he did a great job on a video that Roads and Trans did with Helen. But how many people are really on social media? But if you're on that road, and you see a sign,
private road,
then you see a sign like they do for Rebuild Alabama, another Rebuild Alabama project. Why shouldn't we do that?
But you know what, speaking of that, but now that I think about it, we do have that sign. Let me tell you why I said that. We just need more of them to be printed. Because I was on my way to the doctor's office and going, it's in Hoover, but it's the back road, can't think of it, but there's a road work that you all just did, and I saw that sign. Am I wrong? Don't we already have existing signs that says about, it may not say county dollars at work, but it was a Jefferson County project, and I took notice of that sign.
We do have signs, but I think we can work to tailor those signs more towards the Rebuild Alabama to where Jefferson County dollars at work. We can create that. But we do currently have some signs.
You do?
On
Because I saw it.
I think the Rebuild Alabama signs, those are up there. Those are permanent signs. And so those stay next to the road or not permanent, for a certain amount of years after the project.
So in Pewtown, not far from the city hall, as you go up on Virginia Drive, up over the thing, it's Rebuild Alabama. It's a city Rebuild Alabama, but I call a lot of flack on that because of the work that we did at the bottom of that hill. So they didn't call the governor on that. They called the commissioner.
I think it's a great idea, commissioners, and we'll, in the next committee meeting, we'll have our plan and bring it to you and update you on how we're going to implement that.
Yeah, but I think basically what the topic is right now is that we just need to make sure that, that we're having a very intentional approach to those communities that needs that additional road work, and then making sure that we label it by placing signs to say that this is your county dollars at work. You know what I mean? But it'd be helpful for us to get an updated list of what that looks like, so that I know the roads have to be assessed in order for there to be a commitment from the county. I think what needs to happen is that it's good when we can effectively communicate with the commissioners of those respective districts, so that perhaps maybe there may be an oversight on the department, and maybe there could be, you know, some suggested or recommendations of roads that you might need to look at. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Even if it means that commissioners can inform those various cities, like we've done in the past, about adopting the roads, so that the county can then be in a position to maintain certain roads that maybe cities like Brighton and Lipscomb and Fairfield and some other places are not able to do themselves. Make sense what I'm saying?
So we used to have signs that they put up frequently that said this portion of the road is maintained by Jefferson County. Those have kind of gone the way of the, I don't see any of those anymore. I would love to have a couple of signs that says, this part of this road is not maintained by Jefferson County.
We just started back paving roads.
And we thank you all for your investment, because I think you have made a tremendous improvement, and the plan going forward is tremendous, and it truly is rebuilding Jefferson County, all of Jefferson County. And we know we got to be, we have on our strategic plan to improve the reporting of the upcoming projects and projects as we go, and hopefully we'll get that signed system going as well.
But the rebuild Alabama dollars, those are extra dollars coming from the state.
It's our money, it's our gas tax money, but that particular gas tax requires us to send the state, hey, what roads are you actually spending it on? And we can pick one of hundreds, but these are just bigger and easier to maintain, you know, and all the cities have to do the same thing. And actually, no, that's not it. And each city that gets this money has to do the same thing too. So, and I know Heather's actually helped, I think, Brighton and Lipscomb with their plan. And
The state wrote that in just so that they know where those dollars are going, as opposed to it go to a county, gets spent on something else.
right, for 50%, only 50% of it can be used, I think, on the salaries. It has to go to asphalt, concrete, on the ground stuff. So. Thank you, Chris.
All right.
I'll move 1 through 10, so withdrawing through.
What I need to do, I need to look at number 9. You have Alabama Infrastructure Bank funds. Roads and Transportation respectfully request the county manager. County manager doesn't authorize allocation. County commission has to authorize allocation funds. So we need a pen and ink change in there.
I think the resolution is correct, and that title is incorrect.
Both of these are correct?
No, you're right, the title on that is incorrect, the actual resolution says the county commission.
Okay, fair enough.
And I'll get that corrected.
Yeah, that was just a pen and ink that I think that, if it's gonna come before this body, it needs to be by that resolution.
Did you move it?
You move it with that pen
Did you
and
move
ink.
I did, with pending, sorry.
You second it?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Rice Creek subdivision stormwater management agreement.
I think that was in there.
In that 10?
We just did that. We just did that.
All right, we're good. All right, minutes from the commission meeting, September 22nd. Any additions, corrections, or revisions?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, it says nothing from the sheriff, but I actually did a hand delivery to the county manager's office yesterday, request for barracks for ARPA funding. I want to make sure that is on, that we do look at that. I hand delivered it to Helen. There was no one else in the office. Supposed to get with you and Justin to see where the funds available and what's going on with that. And there's also a packet for your distribution to the rest of the county commission when the time comes. Okay. All right, the Legacy Group purposes provide leadership development for the Jefferson County Commission. Do we need any leadership development?
Y'all know, your staff does.
I agree.
So, are these the, I just need clarification on this.
I didn't read the back of it.
Yeah, I didn't either, Joe.
This is the group, Commissioner, that provided some mid-level and upper-level management training in roads and trans.
We just did it in the last meeting.
Yeah, but we asked them to add it for our staffs as well.
That's right.
Yeah, we did one with Auburn, and on as needed, and this one's as needed, and our plan is to write our own program that we can then train ourselves, so I think they did an excellent job, and we're gonna expand that to hit all the departments with some minimum leadership and management training, how to do a performance appraisal, how to handle all different kind of difficult situations, ADA requirements, a gamut of things that we're just really behind on and need to get really well trained on.
My only question, which I support, because if you have effective staff, you have effective leadership. The Legacy Group, who is that entity? Just from my understanding.
It's a group that does professional training.
Coming through HR?
It did come through HR, but once they did the training with the roads and trans folks, it was so successful, we wanted to merge this with Auburn, and so that's why we.
I understand. You still didn't answer my question. Who are they?
I can't even answer it. I'll get it to you after the meeting.
Okay. It's all right. You can own it.
Yeah,
If you don't know, it's all right.
I don't know.
I just want to know who they are. I think, just being honest with you, when we went through commission, which y'all call the commission college, I think the Auburn program is excellent. And so I'm asking, are they affiliated with that Auburn?
GEDI,
Mhm.
Government Economic
I don't
Development.
think so.
Yeah, no, I'm just talking about, Auburn provides that program period that we have to go through.
They will be with us, because that's our plan, because if we couldn't get Auburn up here enough, I only had like 2 days a
Mhm.
month. So we're gonna take the material and then put our names on it and our specifics on it, and this group will help us kind of make our own program so that we can really focus on that detail training.
That's fine. The only ask that I would have is that if at some point, when you all start doing what you're doing, if we can meet the folks who are the face behind the name of this group,
Sure.
that's all.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're not adding employees to do that.
No, sir.
So
We're training
this is
ourselves.
a specific engagement, and once this process is in place, we're going to use existing personnel from which department and what
Well,
government.
we'll
And
use.
how will it be done, and how often will it be done?
We don't even really know that yet. We're developing a detailed training program that will set out those things, but our learning organization and development group and HR will be providing some of that training, but roads and trams will be training themselves and that kind of thing once we get going.
But it's a multi-year agreement, and so I'm looking at that because it'll go from here to 25, so it's a 3-year agreement. I think the main thing, Mr. President, that we just want to be assured of, this is just me speaking as one commissioner, but I believe that exposure is everything. So it's no different than when we go to Leadership Birmingham, Leadership Alabama, and anything else. I hope what we want to do is take staff that we have here and take a program. I understand that they should be a part of the execution. What I wouldn't want to see is them training one another. Otherwise, why would you have a program? You wouldn't have a program leader. Do you understand what I mean? So if that's what we're doing, then I'm saying I don't want to support that, but I would support exposure, meaning that if they have access to Auburn, Alabama, I don't care where it is, but as long as it's them not training themselves.
Right.
Am I making sense?
Absolutely.
Taking what they do learn, however, and utilizing it internally, yes. Am I making sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Have a board appointment from McElroy Fire District.
Wait a minute, you need to call the roll, Jimmy.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Move items 1 and 2.
Okay. Like the first is a fire district, second is a certificate of recognition for John Michael Pickens. And I think that's noteworthy is that gentleman right here who maybe Apple's going to fall for the good one. If you look at that resolution, you will see, and I'm proud to be able to present that. So that's one of my district children. And he does a great job, and he's well represented in the county right here from the city of Utah. Appreciate that.
Well, you didn't call the roll.
All in favor, say aye. Commissioner Knight.
Finance, Ms. Dixon.
Good morning, Commissioners. We have our encumbrance report, our purchasing
I'll
agenda.
move 1 through 3.
Have a motion?
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Under
Need a vote?
budget, okay. Multiple staff development, individual staff development, and the information items. And we also,
Hold on, we can move item to 1. I'll move for 1 and then,
Have a motion? All in favor, please say aye.
aye. And I did have a question regarding number 2, so go ahead.
okay, the commission approved the payroll agent agreement a couple commission meetings ago. And in order for us to move forward, we also need to set up budget and revenue to execute that process.
So here's my question. The way it reads, it says increasing revenues and expenditures to continue toward processing payroll for JCEIDA. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out, when we say we're increasing revenues, we already have pledged $10 million to this particular.
This is just them doing the payroll, so they're just accepting the money. So it's accepting the money to pay for the payroll and then the expenditure to pay. It's nothing out of our budget or economic development or anything else. It's just accepting money from them and then paying payroll.
I know, but why do we use the term increasing revenues?
That's just the term that we use, but it'll be a net effect of 0 to the county. The money comes in, so we have to increase the revenue and then the expense, so it's a net. So it is a gross up of the revenues.
How many people on payroll?
I think it's going to be 3 people if I'm,
And what are they salary?
I can get
Why
that
is it not
information.
listed on here?
We can send that out after the meeting.
I would like to know their salaries.
Yes, ma'am.
So, and then in addition to that, why don't we make that request in terms of salaries that you provide that before the Thursday meeting or by the Thursday meeting? But, okay, if you're saying, I just, to me, I would have thought that it's just resolution to continue processing payroll. I'm trying to figure out why do we have that language there, but, language is everything when you're talking about passing a resolution.
Yeah.
So when you say increasing revenues and expenditures, it shouldn't exceed what we already pledged anyway.
But I think the way she has to deal with it contextually is that the overall funds that they handle will increase and expenditures. Not that this is a specific increase. That's what I think. But that's
That's
I
correct.
haven't been a part of it.
Yeah, because it's going to be your last meeting, isn't it? Huh?
November 1st.
And it, huh?
November 1st.
Okay. I got my eye on you.
So,
In a good way.
so basically, you guys passed an agreement to extend payroll for JCI.
No.
BMO is the one that said you had to set up through their department. Justin's involved, and Kevin Edwards also involved with that. And basically, they got to set up an account. That account will receive the funds as revenues, but then they return around and spend that money back out. So it's basically just a wash, but it's legal technicality that they have to go through, they said, to pass.
So-
it.
But it's still an increase in the totality of
That's
what
correct.
she has to do.
That's right.
So let me
In
ask,
both revenue and expenditure.
Yes.
It's adding something to it, but not a net effect.
so let me ask this question. Who determines the payroll? Is that your board?
The board.
Okay.
says-
You hear I'm saying your board. Yeah, so you got 3 people, and the board determines the salaries, am I right?
That's correct.
Okay, and so when we talk about the increase in revenues, then we're also talking about the revenues that those projects through JCEIDA, that they, you know, whatever, whether it be acquisitions or anything that happens profitably, then this would take care of all of that.
No, this is just
That's just
their
payroll.
payroll. For
It's
those
just
three
the
people,
payroll.
For those 3 people.
The
You're gonna be still getting a check from the county.
Technically funded by
Is that
JCI.
JCID is paid.
I don't know, I get it.
So they're separate
You
agreements.
know, we cut from the same cloth.
So are he's up on our payroll and up on our pension and all that too.
Yes, ma'am.
So he's really an employee of the county.
Well,
Through his
no,
committee?
he's still an employee of JCIDA,
That's
but
correct.
the payroll agent agreement allows him to be able to participate in that.
Just like for the healthcare authority,
Let me ask you this.
is that right?
Well, why is then, put my glasses on. Now, why isn't JCEIDA a department in the county?
It has a
If he's
separate,
in under our payroll, pension and all that,
it's a separate board. So, for example, the people that are at the personnel board, there are other entities where the pension board allows, if we act as their fiscal agent, their payroll agent, then they have the benefit of getting their retirement and other benefits to participate in the retirement system and have the benefit of receiving benefits that the county does. But in terms of directing employees and that kind of thing, it's just like personnel board, they're an independent board. But this basically just allows those folks, and since the county already funds JCID effectively, this just allows those employees, like the personnel board and those others, to have the benefit of the pension and those kind of benefits that we offer the county.
Even the EMA has a similar thing, but their pension is through Birmingham, so that's.
Yeah, that's another historical thing because of the change from EMA to civil defense.
Yeah.
But effectively, the law had set up the pension, our pension requires that we're payroll agents, then they
Right.
can avail themselves of those kinds of benefits.
All right. Do I have a motion on?
So moved.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right. Board of registrars, got a precinct change, Barry?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Good morning. Good morning. 5 weeks from today. So this is the last one, and this is UAB came to us for this. We're just moving across the street from the Bell Building to Bartow. They're doing some additional renovation to the Bell Building. Everyone knows where Bartow is. Just across the street, same parking, actually more room. So this will be the last one unless we have some type of fingers crossed natural disaster. This is the last one to bring to y'all.
Does knock on wood.
Do I have a motion?
Move it.
I have a motion, second. All in favor, please say aye. Circuit Clerk, Ms. Smith, would you like to address the commission real quickly on the evidence room?
Yes, and I have a couple of things to pass on to you. When I became circuit clerk, I found out that we had to conduct.
Speak into the mic, because I think we got people on Zoom.
When I became circuit clerk, I found out that we needed to.
Hold on just a moment. It appears as though the microphone is not.
No, it won't amplify it here. That's running through the screen.
Okay, well, that's fine.
Okay, so when I became circuit clerk, I found out that we needed to do an inventory of the evidence that is in the evidence room in the criminal justice building on the 9th floor. There had not been one done since 2017. And we started with that. What we decided to do was to go ahead and pull and get new shelving for it because there's a lot of biohazardous problems in that floor. And I'm inviting all of you all to come and visit it. and wear masks when you come and visit it. I think what you'll find is that what we have is we have a room in which we have guns. We have another room in which we have drugs. Another one in which we have articles from bank robberies, etc. And so having these things stored properly is something that I thought that we should do. So I've engaged a company called Patterson Coat. I'm going to pass this out to the commissioners. You see that a photo of the existing room, and so you'll have to understand that. You've got to look at that stuff. It's a problem. It's a hazard. So we got a quote. The whole project will cost about $130,000. What I've done is I've taken circuit court funds, I have an account for that, as well as judicial funds, and I've negotiated with several banks. So what we've done is from our interest earnings from those accounts, we have earned $130,000, which should be enough for the project. This is a state project. It has been approved. But this is an information item for you. I've already spoken with Trish Wilkins, and she can have her crew come and remove the items and break those shelves down. And then the company will come in and install new shelves. Also, what we've done is we've worked with another company to make it a state-of-the-art depository in which we will have forensic cameras to take photos of the evidence. Now, all of this evidence are appellate case evidence, so this is nothing like what the sheriff has with his facility. But I wanted to let you know that we do have the money for it. It is first money, and we are ready to go ahead and start it, and we're starting it this quarter. And so what you'll see is you'll see a phase one. That's the one that is listed for $42,000. My guess is it will be in the end about $50,000. And then the other phases, which you'll see on some of the sheets there, you see phase one and phase two. Phase two is so big and vast, we'll break that into two other phases. So it will be three in the end. And this is an update. We've crossed all of the T's and we've dotted all of the I's thus far, unless something else comes up. But it's a project I've been working on since Judge Bluehacker was here.
Yeah, you have, and I appreciate it. Let me ask you this. As you're doing this, is there any way to purge some of this stuff, or is it all have to be, we just put back in?
No, we will purge. We will. The judges are going to run a dismissal docket, and because we will, once the evidence is pulled out, if the case has been adjudicated, and we can do a surplus. I've been working with Stephen Wallace on that.
Okay.
So we do plan on doing that.
Okay.
There, as I mentioned, like with the guns, ICE and tobacco firearms, they will come in. But the biggest thing is, if the case is adjudicated, there's some things that need to go back to the proper owner. Quite frankly, I've seen a Rolex in there and things like that that need to go to the proper owner. But once the case is adjudicated, we'll figure out where it goes to and get it back to that person. Or if it's something like the drugs and the guns, it'll go to the appropriate agency. And I'm working with the DA with this project and with Sheriff Headway with the project, as well as the judicial system. Stephen Wallace over there is working with me with that thing.
So you don't give the drugs back to the right owner?
No, we don't do that. So
All right, any questions? Are you done?
I am. This is an information item, and I'm just happy to go ahead and sign those contracts.
Okay. All right, do I have a motion? Well, this is just as an update. I don't know that we need a item on it, but we all know that we have been updated. Do we need a vote? Let's have a vote to accept the report of the circuit clerk. Have a motion second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you. All right, developmental services. Z220042.
Yes, sir. This is a request to go from RG to go to RG from agricultural. This is down on South Shades Crest Road. This, I'm sure you all have been receiving the numerous emails in opposition from the neighboring subdivision. This particular property has a recent history. They had applied earlier this year to go to R4 for apartments, and that generated a lot of opposition. The applicant withdrew the case before even Planning and Zoning Commission could make a motion. They tried to annex into Helena, of which there was another set of public hearings, and again, the neighborhood behind it showed up in some fierce opposition. They had attempted to annex as well as rezone the property then. Now they devised a plan to where they've got a 5-lot subdivision that's all fronting along South Shades Crest Road. But they're requesting the RG just so they can cluster the housing at the top of the road, or at the top of the hill there, for the sake of marketing houses that have a view over the mountain at that location. Because of the density of the project, it actually fits within the county land use plan. And the Planning and Zoning Commission did recommend approval with covenants that the development of the property be in substantial conformance to the site plan presented at their hearings, and limited to a maximum of 5 lots accessed by a single shared driveway subject to the approval of the Department of Roads and Transportation. That they maintain a 50-foot buffer along the rear of the property where adjacent to the subdivision wall that the opposition is coming from. And in the event that the 50-foot buffer cannot be achieved in the construction of the detention pond, planning should be installed to the maximum extent possible. And they also had a condition for the minimum home size of 1,500 square feet, as that was raised as a concern of the public hearing. Again, a lot of the opposition is generated in this instance just by the sheer fact that we're changing the zoning. There's a little bit of distrust as to what exactly is being put forth. Again, and that's the intent of the recommendations of the Planning and Zoning Commission. The lot configuration is a bit out of character for everything else that is around there, again, due to the fact that it does comply with the population density requirements. The Planning and Zoning Commission did recommend approval based on that requirement in the range. There are renderings of the proposed houses in your packet as well, and we'll be happy to answer any questions on this one.
I was really curious about a common driveway.
Yes, sir. They don't want to have access, or they don't want to create multiple driveways onto South Shades Crest, and that's just a traffic management, just to control the number of curb cuts along South Shades Crest, because the arrangement is dense. I mean, they're going to be right next to each other. And that's what's allowed in RG zone. And rather than have all those curb cuts right next to each other on South Shades Crest, which already has some site distance problems, already has a lot of traffic, they want to limit that to one single access point that will probably come off the drive that accesses the subdivision and not South Shades Crest.
And we're 4-laning South Shades, right?
I believe so. I don't know if that project extends to this portion or not.
All right, do I have a motion to move to the agenda? A motion?
Yeah, I'll second move to the.
All right, all in favor, please say aye. Z 22-0044.
0044. We're going to skip ahead. There was an error in processing this through minute track, or processing these cases through minute track. We've actually got an additional case that's been notified, and we've placed a legal ad in the paper and everything else. Again, there's just an error processing. That case is Z-22-0043. Millie is informing that we will need a motion from the floor today in order to place that on Thursday's agenda.
Motion. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion to consider item new business. Do I have a second? All in favor, please say aye. And have a motion.
We just did it.
Oh, is that what you need?
That was it.
That's what else we move the item.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we hadn't heard item
That's what I was
yet.
thinking.
Well, we were going to have that in discussion. Go ahead.
4-3. This is an instance where we have an older trailer park that's out off Pinson Valley Parkway, and a portion of the property is zoned agricultural, and a portion of the property is zoned C1 commercial. This trailer park was established in the early or mid to late 1960s, prior to us adopting the R5A or R5B classification dealing with trailer parks. So it's been old and non-conforming this entire time, meaning that they couldn't locate any new trailers or anything else out there until the zoning was rectified. And recently they've applied to make permits to install a new trailer in a lot that's established. And in order to do so, we're changing the zoning, or they've made the request to change the zoning so that it can be legal and conforming.
That's the one that got hit by the...
No, this is a different. This one's on the opposite side of Penn Valley Parkway, in the same vicinity.
All right.
I'll move it.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I do want to add on that case that we did not have any opposition at the Planning and Zoning Commission. They also went through a variance procedure for some setbacks, just to essentially bless the arrangement on the property. And there was also no opposition at that hearing either. Next item is case 220044. This is a request to go from I-3 to A1 for our residents.
Do you have a motion?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, the next item that's under our agenda is the grade and curve. We can discuss that now, or we can move on to the zoning case if that's your plan.
Well, it's on this page. Go ahead.
Okay, good morning, Commissioners. This is the demolition contract for the next set of demolitions that we have. This is a contract for 17 unsafe structures in the Robinwood neighborhood. Originally, I think the contract was for 34 structures, but the organization Kids to Love bought those 17 structures and have plans to do the cleanup of those structures themselves, and so those were removed. And that's why we are left right now with 17 structures that the county plans to demo and clean up.
And then you have how many coming up in April?
So in March, excuse me, I've got it right here. So we have another set in the Docena area that is 37 houses or properties, and those are expected to, the construction for those are expected to come before you in March, early March, and then go to construction hopefully by like March 10th, second week of March. So
Now, you got there's a few isolated places around the county too. I do want to not forget those. Been out there for years. All right. Have a motion?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. D 220047. If I'm correct.
All right, this is a request to go from A1 agriculture to C1 for a computer training center for veteran seniors and others. This is located on an area of Old Springville Road where the street has pretty well transitioned from residential to commercial. This is sort of the last one holding in the county. In fact, the neighboring property that's within the city of Center Point is zoned institutional, as is the property across the street. And the property on the opposite side of the cross street is zoned commercial in the city of Clay. And so, with that being said, the Planning and Zoning Commission did recommend approval based on the municipal development along the corridor, despite the fact that our land use plan calls for residential in this area. But again, because there is a provision in our land use plan that allows for us to blend with the municipal development patterns, the Planning and Zoning Commission did recommend approval with the condition that final site and elevation plans are subject to their approval, which is what we find is commonplace as we get commercial rezoning requests, just to ensure that there's not anything that's going to be egregious to the neighborhood aesthetic.
Yeah. Do we know if either of those cities will annex this?
That we don't know.
Gotcha. Do I have a motion?
Move the item.
Motion. Second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Z 220050.
All right, this is a request to rezone property from R1 to A1. This case was also, or there was opposition present for this case as well. This is on the back side of a subdivision that was developed in the early part of the 2000s. That subdivision, of course, was rezoned from A1 to R1 for the development. This is sort of this was a phase or a portion of the property that was supposed to be phased for completion of that subdivision. And since then, the applicant or the property owner has, in essence, changed their mind and wished to market it as agricultural property. If you all will remember, back in December of last year, the portion of property to the rear of it, there's a larger 40-acre tract, was successfully rezoned from R1 to A1 for the same purpose. And this request is to rezone another tract of it to the east that would be marketed with the larger portion to the west. All again as one large agricultural tract.
Same landowner?
Yes, same landowner. There is a different prospective buyer, and that's when it was discovered that there was some confusion from the owner about what all they wanted to have rezoned. And again, there was some confusion on our end as well as the property owner's end as to whether or not this tract was or was not included. And it was determined that after we went back and looked at the notices and everything else, as well as their application, that this particular tract was not included in what was rezoned, and they wished to adjust that and basically rezone that portion. Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval with the same conditions as the previous case, which that restricts the location of restricts the location of livestock to be kept on the property. A 100-foot buffer where adjacent to the residential community that is zoned R1, and also limiting mobile homes on the property except for the purposes of temporary emergency relief.
What was the basis for the opposition?
There was, again, concerns about smells, any sort of offense from agricultural use of the property. Again, I would point out, and you can see on the zoning map that's in the packet on the screen, everything in this area is zoned agricultural. There's a lot of, most of this subdivision borders other agricultural property in the area. Another thing I'd point out is that on the larger 40-acre tract of land, there's a significant portion of it that's floodplain that would be hard to cross and develop on the opposite side, as well as anything within the floodplain itself. And ideally, agricultural use is perfect for flood-prone properties.
Is there any restriction placed on the number of livestock in the 10-acre tract?
As far as the number of livestock, no. County zoning regulations do not have any sort of matrix or, for instance, 1 horse per acre. We don't have any sort of matrix like that built into our regulations. That's definitely something that the commission could consider as a condition.
The property owners, if they want to have horses,
right,
on a 10-acre tract, I would think that 3 to 4 horses would be fine on 10-acre tract. 40 horses would not be.
Right, right.
So I think that if we're going to approve this, perhaps we should do it with some covenants to it, for the number of livestock. Limit the number on that 10-acre tract. 40 acres appears that is far enough away where there's no problem, am I correct?
Yeah, it should be, yes.
Should be. Because if you look at, if you combine those two parcels,
right,
and you open them all up, you have 40 horses, and they all come up near the subdivision.
Right.
That's not.
Well, again, and that's why, again, that goes back to why the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended that 100-foot buffer against where that the subdivision is, just to keep livestock out from that buffer.
So if they have a fence, they would have to put the fence
100 feet around.
Yeah.
So you're talking about creating a buffer?
Yeah.
Right. Or just a no livestock zone 100 feet from where it's adjacent to that
Residential property abuts it.
Yes, ma'am.
Do I have a motion?
No, hold on, it sounds like there's a motion, but
Is there
with
any-
the ask of a condition.
Yeah, is there any restrictions that we would place on this 10 acres, not on the 40 acres? 40 acres is already rezoned, right?
40 acres is already
40 acres is already rezoned. This 10 acres, we limit that to possibly 4 horses.
Well, will it be the 40 acres plus the 10, and now it's 50?
That is
Or will
correct.
be a
It
separate-
is, both this tract as well as the 40-acre tract are now described as one lot.
But are they, okay, so they're wanting to put it all together?
It's all going to be combined
So can
into
we
one
just-
large
Can
agricultural.
we add that maybe there's no livestock on the 10 acres and it's just on the 40?
That's at the pleasure of the commission.
So are they
That
only,
just seems to be more clear.
are they trying to only do horses?
The applicant spoke of at the public hearing that he didn't really have any plans for livestock at the time. He just didn't want the restriction on it in case his kids wanted a horse or something.
Cow,
But they could put it on 40 acres.
They would put it on 40 acres.
or
So
sheep,
we just said,
But
ram, alligator.
didn't you say this?
We could do no, or we could limit
Did you
it.
say that this is going to be sold?
There is a contractor, or a real estate contractor.
Yeah, so that's.
The potential buyer was at the public hearing, and he stated that his intent was to use the 40 acres for livestock, and the 10 acres would be for his homestead, for his personal forever home. And he just didn't want to limit it to no, because if his child, who is younger, his children that he'll be raising, if they want to have a horse or two on that property. And he specifically said on that 10 acres, not the 40. The 40 would be for cattle, if I'm not mistaken.
So we could say.
Well, he's just looking at, what potential issues that could arise on behalf of his heirs.
No livestock,
So-
limited to X amount of horses.
And cows.
No livestock on the 10. No chickens.
You could hear him at the public hearing if he's there, but I think he would be amenable.
Well,
That's
so livestock will cover all these various animals, but we're talking about horses more specifically, right? And so,
What you goats in my neighborhood?
Goats are good. Right, Danielle?
You know, I've got a 10-acre field behind my house that's right there. Got 3 horses on it. They eat it down pretty well. They don't cause any stink. They don't cause any problem. So if you limit it to 4 horses, I think that would work. Got 5. I think 4. If you limit it to 4 horses and no livestock, I think that follows the intent of what he wanted.
how about we do this, what Jimmy, why don't we just, why don't we pass it to the agenda, you'd like to refer, can you have a conversation with that developer and see if that may be an issue? If that is an issue, then we can just eliminate it altogether.
Yeah, we absolutely, and we will encourage him
Yeah,
to
like
be.
if he has a cause, any apprehension about it being limited to 4, then Jimmy, we can deal with it from the dates.
That'll work.
Okay, very good. So let's go
Moving
ahead.
it, Jim?
Yeah, I'll move to the agenda.
And then second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Emergency Management Agency, we have a 21 EMPG ARPA. Do I have a motion to accept? Acknowledge. A motion and second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, going to the home stretch here on the treasurer, under the treasurer, approval of banks. We're going to hold that until October the 18th committee meeting. Have items 2 and 3. Treasurer's appointed clerk salary adjustment and investment deputy treasurer.
Move items 2 and 3.
Have a motion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That concludes my report.
Jim,
I'll go ahead.
let's go.
I'll go ahead and go.
Yeah, let's go.
Move item 2.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye. All right, so, if there are no further business, do you have anything else, Cal? There are no further business that we have, county attorney? Okay. We have no further business, and thank you, see you on Thursday. Meeting is adjourned.
So these things that the clerk is talking about doing, they are not, I need modifications, right?
That one quick.